Working. Okay. Hey everyone, hello, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you in this new year. This is the first vlog of 2017 and I know that I haven't posted a vlog in a while, but I have been really busy closing off a couple of projects last year and starting new ones this year, and I got incredibly busy with work, with writing, with interviewing, and there was Christmas and there was New Year's and there was my birthday, which was about a week ago, and I had lots of family and very close friends visiting. So it's my vlogging and my posting has been pretty sporadic over the past couple of weeks, but that is all changing. I wanted to start off 2017, my first vlog of the year, with an accumulation of my thoughts ending last year and my hopes for the coming year. Now, usually around New Year's and or people's birthdays, which for me they kind of coincide, people tend to look at themselves and what they've achieved over the past 12 months, or they look at the world and see what's happened and their place in it. We kind of reorganize our thoughts, our priorities, our goals for the year without sounding too, I don't know, too self-centered. I wanted the first vlog of 2017 not only to be positive, but to also accumulate the thought or the observation that most struck me from the last year, that I learned a lot from, if that makes any sense. When we look back over the last 12 months, it's hard, it's impossible to ignore what's happened. When we recount all the stories, all the videos, the images, the tweets, all the news on social media, the question is still there. What actually happened? It just seems like fact and fiction have been friends this whole time and have decided to debut their finest work over the last 12 months. Dubbed as one of the worst years in the history of the universe, 2016 was a bombardment of one insane story after the other, one scandalous incident after the other, one bizarre headline after the other. We just didn't know what to believe anymore. It was dominated by political movements and ongoing rebellions and protests, the passing of some of the world's most well-known icons, actors, musicians, athletes, and revolutionaries, to the senseless deaths of innocent civilians in Syria, Karada, and terror attacks across Europe and the United States. For many of us, humanity revealed the epitome of its ugliness, and when we thought it couldn't get any worse, we were surprised in no less than 150 characters on social media. Personally, for me, when I look back over the last 12 months and try and choose one story that had a direct effect on me or made me look at the world differently, it would be incredibly easy to pick something like Trump or perhaps Brexit. But there were so many more stories, I think, that left a mark on me negatively and positively. The signing of the Paris Agreement under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change made last year a milestone in our history. Climate change is really important, and it is a subject that I'm learning more and more about. There was, of course, the universal criticism of Hollywood for their lack of diversity, which was shown during the Academy Awards last year, with not one person of color nominated for a major role. This was really huge, and I think made a lot of people think about films and actors and writers in film and the stories that we're communicating. And even the return of one of my favorite characters, I think I even have a copy. This book was definitely a highlight for me last year, getting my hands on it and reading it. It was upside down the whole time. One of my favorite characters of all time, Harry Potter, in J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, after a 10-year absence, was a massive highlight for me. One story that I followed and really caught my eye was NASA's announcement that they were creating a nano starship with Stephen Hawking that could travel 1/5 the speed of light. Another story that I think changed our perception of fame, maybe, and how much of our personal lives we share on social media was the disappearance of the queen of oversharing, Kim Kardashian, from social media after her Paris robbery and the breakdown of her husband Kanye West. I'm not sure if that's still the case with them, but I think for a lot of people it made them rethink what was important about sharing and whether we need to rethink how and who we are constantly putting in the limelight. So each of those stories on their own forced me to look at myself and ask, what is important? What is entertaining? What isn't entertaining? What's valid? What is a black and white issue? What is a gray issue? What is an issue that is dynamic and complex that I have no right to speak in? And what is an issue that I have to speak up about? And what should I keep observing, and what story should I take action in? So rather than picking just one issue or one story, I think the most important thing I observed last year was the way in which we communicated stories to each other, the way in which we learned from one another, for better or for worse. And that, of course, is social media. So I'm gonna ask you guys, has there been a more frequent, immediate way that you guys have discovered news or read an important story if it wasn't through a Facebook post or a tweet? I doubt it. I think more than any year over the last 12 months on social media, we have witnessed scenes of chaos, destruction, and war. I think the past 12 months have also displayed our incredible sense of humor, our ability to be self-deprecating, to be ironic, to be funny, to share our jokes with the world. For me personally, I learned so much through social media over the past 12 months, from subjects and stories and issues that I was passionate about and others that I didn't even know I was passionate about, like climate change, social politics, archaeology and history and technology. I started a podcast. I started this vlog. I began and I completed a personal writing project. I learned about great actors and actresses and directors and writers and musicians whom I would never have found out about if it wasn't through social media. What's great is that all of these issues and subjects that I'm passionate about and all of these that I'm yet to be passionate about have a communal space in the digital sphere that is just waiting for me to discover, and I think that applies to everyone on here. So many people talk about the importance of change in our culture and the fact that we're living in a culture of change. We are changing how we communicate, how we perceive each other, how we perceive ourselves. Changing intrinsically, spiritually, mentally is as important as sometimes changing physically. But I don't really believe we're living in a culture of change, because change is inevitable, change is natural, change is going to happen anyway. I think that we're actually living in a culture of conversation, which is equally, if not more important than change, because conversation actually leads to change. Whether it's good or bad, enlightening or ignorant, profound or entertaining, conversation is happening online all the time, and we are learning from each other, about each other, and about ourselves. A marked change that I've noticed over the past 12 months is that people, the youth, want to learn. They want to understand the complexities of society, of culture, of politics that's completely different than their own. Something that I think was completely missing when I was in my early 20s, when I was a teenager. People were ambivalent, they were indifferent, they were not as curious as they are these days. Now they want to engage with stories and topics and issues that they might never have known existed a couple of years ago. But in saying that, I think most of us are still learning how to utilize this massive, overwhelming tool and weapon that is social media. I think the only way for us to move forward as people, as a culture, as society, as human beings, and to inhabit the positive aspects of social media is to embrace this culture of conversation. We have to keep the conversation going. I think that's the most important lesson that I've learned personally in 2016, which is the importance of this culture of conversation and to preserve it. When I say conversation, I don't mean dialogue between person A and person B. I also mean a conversation with yourself. And that could mean a multitude of things. For me personally, it means reading more, writing, watching documentaries, watching films, speaking to people who understand a subject much better than me and asking those questions. And I think a lot more people now are embracing that idea, and that is the way forward. That idea of conversation is, despite everything, the most important lesson, reminder, revelation for me personally over the past 12 months. Because the more conversations you have, the more dialogues you open up with yourselves and with other people, the more you'll realize that despite everything, all of us are more connected to each other than we are even aware of on the Twitterverse as well as the actual universe. My plan is to have a lot more conversations online with people who are watching my videos, conversations with people who read my stories as a journalist and as a creative writer, and conversations with myself and asking myself really difficult questions about why I do things, how I do them, why I'm attracted to certain stories, why I'm not attracted to other important social issues. So thanks for listening, guys, to me talk and talk and talk. Hope it wasn't too overwhelming or too heavy, deep. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and my feelings with you over the past 12 months and me reaching another milestone birthday. But I would love to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below on this video, share it, that would be great. Subscribe would be even better. You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or on my website, manofthehour.com. Also, I am really excited to finish the book that I'm reading. I cannot put it down, which is why I left recording this video until late at night. It's almost midnight here. So I want to read it and I want to finish it and I want to get on to the next one. That's it from me. Ciao. Peace be upon you. I hope you're all well and I look forward to hearing from you.